brother, the reason why they want other people to join in the discussion is because to convolute this matter.
One more.
What's evil? Okay, carry on.
No. Let him
Carry on, brother. Carry on.
So basically, there's a creation. Allah created us all. Free will. If you can help me with this.
Why should I, brother? They are trying to divert the conversation from one speaker to multiple. No. I am saying, brother, listen. Look. The reason why we Muslims have a particular understanding that if one of us speak, all of us, we will listen. If I need reminding, remind me. If I need correction, correct me.
I'm not
right.
correct.
Thank you. But other than that, let's have this conversation. The lady asked, evil is the opposite of good. Give me an example.
Yeah. Violence, that's not good.
Okay.
You mean that if I murder someone, that's good?
Slow down. Violence is not necessarily evil. Police does violence. When a person wants to commit a rape,
that's not a very good.
Excuse me. I'm trying to answer your question, and this gentleman Osman and the other guy here, a heckler. Fine. But you see how they're interrupting me from answering your question? Would you be kind enough to tell them to listen to my answer?
Yeah, he's listening.
Thank you. Right. Violence is not necessarily evil. And let me give you examples.
Okay.
Police often applies violence to stop a grievous crime happening. For example, if a police sees someone with a gun and about to murder all of us here, they might shoot this guy's hand and legs to stop him from firing the gun but not killing him. That is violence. This violence is justified violence. That wasn't evil. Yeah? It's a good act what they've done to stop the mass murder happening. So your understanding of evil needs rechecking.
Have God created people who are born with sicknesses and illnesses?
Do you want me to answer that? Sure.
Have God created people to be born blind? People to be born with abilities? There's this insect which has this own ability to go into people's eyes and eat it from the inside. If you've heard this atheist famous Stephen Fry, there's this insect. Has God created this? He creates everything.
Shall I answer?
Created an insect which has this main purpose of. Yeah, like Stephen Fry says, for me that is evil. I cannot believe in a God like that, and I also cannot believe in a God who does not have the ability.
Are you discussing with Stephen Fry or me?
To forgive without giving any justification for it. You cannot just forgive someone without there to be any atonement. If there's no atonement, it does not make sense. We need the atonement.
Thank you.
And that for me is logical, coherent, and it makes much more sense.
You asked me a question, and now you're talking about coherence of atonement.
That's for me. That's important.
If you allow me to respond to that, I will show you how that doesn't work out.
That's the truth. I'm talking as well, and you should also.
No, I didn't say you're not. Look. I didn't say you're not allowed to talk.
You should learn how to listen as well.
Excuse me. I didn't say you're not allowed to talk. I said, you asked me, did God create an insect that goes into the eye and eats their eyes and so on and so forth, as Stephen Fry said, so on and so on and so. Now you expect.
Did he? Yes or no?
Are you finished?
I want an yes or no.
Now I want to know first of all, are you finished with your question? Because if you haven't finished, I give you time again to finish your question, then I'm going to answer.
Can you answer a yes or no on that? No. Is that possible?
Can you tell me when you're finished?
Okay. Now I'm finished.
Thank you. No, you said you're finished and you're still talking.
Yeah, I'm finished.
Thank you. So no talking now. Okay, now.
That was not my question because I wanted a yes or no. That was my last question. A yes or no.
Have you finished with your question?
That was not my question.
Have you finished with your question?
It was a yes or no question.
Excuse me, have you finished with your question?
It was a yes or no question.
Sorry. Just tell me if you're finished with your question.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I expect you as a gentleman, Osman, to listen to the answer, right? So you asked me, have you heard about that insect that goes into the eye? And
that wasn't the original question.
What was the original question? Remind me.
Did Allah created the evil?
And I asked you, what do you mean by evil?
Yeah,
and you defined. And then
he answered.
And
did he create that insect?
One moment. So then I answered, evil is relative. Did I not say that?
Okay, can I say? Okay, so
please see what you have to add.
Like evil, like for example, according to Islam, like committing homosexual acts, that's an evil sin to be doing, and like all of committing adultery.
So you're differentiating between what makes evil. We say, look, there is a distinction between sin and other acts. But sin is an act of willful disobedience to God and His will. When you say, did God create evil? I ask you to define evil. And then you somehow realize evil is a relative term. Because police acting on violence is not evil, because you gave example of evil as violence. Then you brought up this example of an insect. Something that, it just comes and eats your eyes. I say, look, God has created us with a purpose.
What's the purpose?
You see, it's very difficult to answer a question when
it's
every
very easy to say
moment
yes or
when
no.
about to answer it, you keep on interrupting. So give me 2 minutes at least, right? God created us with a purpose. Now, the purpose is to worship God. Now, He created people with different levels of abilities. And He is utmost just. He is not even to the least unjust to the people He's created. So those who have been created with no eyes at all, let alone the insect comes and eats it, they don't even have an eye.
So you're actually
excuse
saying...
me.
No.
I said 2 minutes, and
yeah,
you can't
but
even stay silent for 2 minutes.
Okay, 30 minutes. 30
Sorry.
seconds.
Sorry.
Or,
I know how much is 2 minutes. Yes, that wasn't even 2 minutes.
okay, I can check the clock if you want to. 2 minutes?
Stop 2 minutes again. Thank you.
It's
Right.
getting you 2 minutes. Okay.
Why not? Because you interrupted.
Okay, 2 minutes from
Right. So God created people with purpose. All of us have to fulfill our purpose. Some of us may have 2 hands, 2 legs, some of us may not. Doesn't matter what you have got. How God created you, with eyes or without eyes. God will judge us based on the ability that we have given and whether we were able to fulfill it. So if a person is very poor or very rich, it doesn't mean the rich person is going to be able to perform this purpose of his creation or her creation better than the poor person. It may be the opposite. Likewise, a person who is able and a person who is disabled, it doesn't mean the able person will fulfill the purpose more better than a disabled person. It may be the opposite. A disabled person, knowing the disability, still is able to perform the purpose of God that God has created them with, worshiping God alone. So God being
1 more minute.
the Bible school or college or the seminars that you go to, ask them to train you on patience.
And you as well.
No, this is my right. I said it rightfully. Excuse me. No, be fair. Are you fair person? Rightfully. When we agreed on 2 minutes, he interjected before it finished.
Yeah,
so that means
him to stop.
that means my advice is not an arrogant advice. I'm giving you a good advice. Good advice. Train yourself. Right. So as I said, God is being just, and He's always just. We can fulfill our purposes even having eyes or without having eyes. God will take all of that into account, whether based on this, the ability that we have, whether we are fulfilling the purpose or not. Returning back to your question about God creating evil or good. Now, God creates all our actions, but the intention of us to kill, to rape, to murder is something that we will be blamed and accountable for, not God, because we are intending it. Imagine you want to...
Now 2 minutes gone.
No, that wasn't my 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's 2 minutes. Now it's my turn, because you've been talking for so long. And let me say, you've just admitted that God has created people blind. God has created... You know, my brother, he had cancer. He died in May. He suffered a lot. It was a really hard time for me, you know? And this guy just told me God created him like that, with brain tumor. He just said it in my face. And I cannot worship a God like that. I would never do that. I do not find that as a good and loving God. How can God create people with sicknesses and illnesses? And it's not just sicknesses and illnesses, it's suffering. If God creates people like that, then for me, at least, and I think most people do, think that that's an evil God, if he would do that. Yeah, my 2 minutes are not over.
You can get 2 minutes.
Yeah. So I.
Are you watching time?
You have been really saying it right through. And there's so many problems with this singularity. Justice. How can you get justice if you don't have atonement? Do you know what that means? Do you know what? Do you know we need atonement? How can you be free? How can you be justified?
Give him 5 minutes to explain that.
God, if He
that
just
fair?
forgives, if
Give him
someone
5
slaps-
minutes to explain it.
No. If someone,
it's a big subject.
If someone rapes my daughter, and the judge comes and he says, "Okay, I'll forgive this raper," then that judge is an evil judge. There has to be atonement. The Islamic view does not offer any atonement at all. What it offers is a God who says, "I can forgive this, I can come down that." There's no such thing as justification.
No, give him more time. It's not enough.
With a Christian,
Take time.
With a Christian worldview, you have the opportunity to have both. You have justification through Jesus Christ as the atonement, and you also have forgiveness. Those two things cannot be if you don't have atonement, and Islam does not provide that. It does not provide that at all.
Can I say something? Like they believe, according to the Islamic.
No, for Islam, I will explain. For your perspective, you explain. Leave Islam to me to explain. Go ahead.
He's not a Christian.
No, I'm not.
What I'm saying is, if you want to say what Islam considers, I will explain that.
No.
In your perspective,
if I say anything about Islam, could you just correct me?
no, I will say it myself.
No, because let me just say what I want to say quick. Because like in this, I've got a lot of Muslim friends, and they told me this. I've got a lot of Muslim friends, and they told me that in Islam, right, like, for example, why God lets people have diseases, because they believe that life is a test. God is like testing them.
And he also said the same thing. And I'm saying what he just.
You are interrupting him in his 2 minutes or his 5 minutes.
No, he don't want to do that. He just asked
What he just said
Fair
is
enough.
not a good testimony for me. I would never believe in a God like that. I've never
Okay.
believed in a God like
Because
that.
they believe, in Islam.
Why don't you allow me to say what I believe?
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
It's
that,
only fair, isn't it?
What is it that like God's trying to like? It's like a test. Like God's trying to see like if he can handle the trial. Because I know in Islam they say that in the Quran every human being is going to have tests and trials. So they believe in Islam that all the diseases and sickness you have, that is a test from Allah to see whether you love Him. To see whether you love Him and you can like you're a true believer. That's why.
Okay.
Am I
Can
right?
I
So-
ask something? First, your Muslims friends, what do they say about eternity? Or what's the meaning?
What do you mean?
The test, where is it going? Are they going to meet God, or what's...
God's gonna reward you for the way you handle that trial on the day of judgment. And Allah will reward
Let
you
me
for it.
come into this, right? So you talked about how Islam doesn't offer justice and forgiveness. Talking about coherence. To define justice is to give the right where it's due. When Adam and Eve sinned in the Garden of Eden, according to the Bible, you expect them to acknowledge their mistake and ask God for forgiveness. And you expect God to forgive because it's forgiving. There is no mention of God forgiving Adam and Eve.
There's even an animal who had to do the atonement in the first book.
No patience.
There's even
I am not even finished 30 seconds and he's interrupting.
Okay.
But you cannot say things which are wrong according
Excuse
to
me.
Christianity, and then
Okay.
I'm not allowed to.
Yeah, you
Okay,
Yeah.
when I said
That's not fair.
Adam and
I
Eve,
cannot
okay,
say a lot
did
of wrong
Adam
things
and
about
Eve,
Islam, and
okay,
then you're not
forget
allowed
the
to
2
interrupt
minutes,
me. Yeah.
interactions.
Okay.
Did Adam and Eve ask God to forgive them when they committed eating of the apple, of the tree?
Pardon? What is?
Did Adam and Eve ask God sincerely, humbly, willingly?
No.
Isn't that what I said? There is no mention of that in the Bible. So I was correct. So let me continue then.
That's not the point.
So I am establishing a point. So here, you expect them who are walking in the presence of God to realize their mistake when they committed the mistake. There is no mention of that. There's no mention of God forgiving them. My next point is this. These two individuals committed a willful disobedience of God's command. Do not eat of the tree or whatever, and they fall short. They disobeyed God. I wasn't there. I did not take part in it. So I am in no way responsible for that action. Why do you believe in this original sin and atonement? This is totally unjust. Because to punish me for the sins of my father is totally unjust. I need to be punished for my own action. Ezekiel chapter 18 in the Jewish Bible is a refutation of the whole concept of original sin or forefather sin passing on to the children. it totally dismantles and demolishes this concept that, you know what, if you are a murderer, your son can be punished for that. Totally dismantles it. You may have not read it. Ezekiel chapter 18, whole chapter is a complete, blatant refutation of this belief. So, but you believe in this atonement, that Adam and Eve sinned. Because of that, we are all guilty. We should all go to hell. And if you don't believe in Christ, who is God incarnate, who paid for that sin, then we will go to hell. But here is the problem with another problem. Coherence, incoherence number 1 and incoherence number 2 here.
What was incoherence? Because it's not, you can say that you think it's unjust,
No.
but it's nothing to do with incoherence.
I'll show you what incoherence is.
I'll show what incoherence is.
Coherence means a system in which you don't punish the innocent.
That has nothing to do with
excuse
coherence.
me, listen. A coherent system of justice is, remember my words, a coherent system of justice is in which within that system the guilty is punished, not the innocent. The guilty. In your system of justice, the innocent like me is paying the price for the guilty like Adam and Eve.
No, that's not right.
Correct me.
If you're punished,
Correct me.
If you're guilty, then
Do I have original
guilty.
sin?
Do you know what? There's this guy called Augustine. Have you read him?
Have you?
I've read some.
So it's not good enough.
Have you
Reading some is not
No,
good
no.
enough.
Have
I just told you.
Have you?
Me not
Because that's what you're trying
Okay,
to tell these
then
people.
That's not good enough.
You're trying
It's
to
not good
tell
enough.
these people about original sin, which is a doctrine. What?
Is it passed on to us?
Huh?
Is the original sin of Adam on your shoulders?
Yeah, and what Augustine says, that you are guilty in your pre-existence by picking the tree in Adam. That's what Augustine says. It's his theory.
Did you willfully choose to do that?
So that's his answer to that. But that's not the point.
Very bad
You're
answer.
saying
Very bad
That's a
answer.
really good answer.
Now let me
It's
tell you
a
why.
logical,
Okay,
coherent answer.
let me tell you why
That's what it is.
incoherent and
Because
bad.
You need to
No,
study.
allow me
You
to-
need to study.
No, you made a claim.
No. You need to study.
I want to
what
show you how
coherence
incoherent it is.
Because coherence,
Yeah.
it's
What does
it's
it
about
mean?
logic.
Okay, what does
It's about
coherent mean?
logic.
What does coherence mean?
Coherence means that it has to. You have to be able to think it.
No, that's not
For
coherence.
example, if you
Try again. What does
No,
coherence
no,
mean?
It's
Try
something
again.
That's coherent. No.
Hoffman?
Okay, you tell me. You
No,
tell
I'm
me.
not going to tell you
No,
because
okay.
you
Why
start.
can't you tell
Why
him?
can't
I'll
you
tell you. Good. Let's open up
Yeah, and you
Oxford
go.
or Cambridge dictionaries of coherence.
Yeah.
So no one argues against.
So you're saying that it's not thinkable.
Excuse me, I'm not saying.
That's what you.
no,
That's
no.
what you're trying to say.
Coherence has
And then
nothing
it's
to
no
just.
point of you making any
Excuse
discussion at
me.
all with it. Yeah.
Coherence is not just about thinkable.
So you're saying,
Wait.
I want you to answer my questions again because I was trying to answer
listen.
you.
Coherence meaning.
I mean,
Patience. Meaning of coherence. Okay. So dictionaries. Okay, let's go to Oxford dictionaries. Definition of coherence.
here it comes.
Excuse me. Bear with me. Because you need to have the data to come to my phone.
This guy is not here, so
Okay? Yeah. We'll come back to the original question about Prophet Muhammad's prophethood. And how Trinity, we haven't talked about, is the most incoherent dogma that we have seen.
No. The Trinity is not coherent. There's nothing incoherent by one being. He's one being and three persons. There's nothing incoherent with that. We believe in one God. There's one God and there's three persons. There's nothing incoherent by it at all.
Coherence as a noun is the quality of being logical and consistent.
Yeah, that's right.
Consistency. Now, remember, when we talk about justice, we're talking about a system in which there will be guilty and there will be someone who is
And
innocent.
And the Christian says that everybody
Excuse
is
me.
guilty.
Excuse me, if you allow me
Everybody
to,
is guilty.
if
So
you allow me to finish,
you
Othman.
You just said that God punishes innocent
Othman,
people. Everybody is guilty.
Othman, was I guilty of the crime that Adam and Eve commit? Thank you. Was I guilty?
No, it's not the point.
Answer is,
It's not,
what is your answer?
It's not the point.
What is your answer?
If you
Was
are
I
not-
guilty?
If you're not guilty, it wouldn't matter.
No. Question is, am I guilty? Was I guilty?
No, you're not guilty.
Right. So is it fair and just to punish me if I'm not guilty of a crime someone did?
No, of course not.
Thank you.
Of
So let's now move on to Trinity. We've established that your belief of
No,
atonement.
of course not, because I believe that you are
You know what?
guilty. I believe that I am guilty. I believe that everybody here
Look.
is guilty. That's the
We may be
core thing. That's the core thing.
we may be
That's
guilty
the core
for the
thing.
crimes
That's the
we
core thing.
commit. That is justice. That's what Islam teaches.
and-
you are
but
guilty
you are-
and punishable
But your God is
based on
evil
your
and
own
he
guilt.
forgives.
Now,
Because
sorry.
if he
Can we-
forgives,
Sister.
if someone
They're trying to-
if someone
That's okay. That's
someone
okay.
is raping
Yes.
my daughter, and someone and a
Is
judge
that not
said,
the same God that allowed your daughter to be raped? So where's the
no,
justice
I'm
in that?
saying if someone raped my daughter,
Yeah.
if someone raped my daughter,
his belief is his God was
judge would
choosing
forgive
what-
it.
you-
There
you're
has to
choosing
there
to
has to
believe what you
be
want to believe.
there has to be some atonement.
Because
There has to be some
but
punishment.
That's your same God that's allowing this child to get raped. So I don't know
What
how
are you
to think
saying?
about that.
who allowed this child of yours to be raped? Who allowed? Did
What
God
are you
allow it to happen? According to the question the sister asked. Did God allow that to happen?
What are you talking about?
Your child in your example got raped. Did your God allow it to happen?
My example was about
Sorry.
forgiveness.
Did
My
your
example-
God allow
I'm
it
not-
to
I'm
happen?
not. Then you have to do another question.
Excuse me.
My question was to
Can
her,
you answer her
and
question?
She did not answer.
Did your God allow your child to be raped?
What do you mean? What do you mean by allow?
Did he allow it to happen?
What do you mean by allow?
Do you not know God allows and disallows?
What do you know? What do you mean?
Are you saying you can do an action without God allowing it?
He condemns it. Yes, he condemns
No, hang on.
it. He condemns
If-
it.
Excuse me.
He condemns
One
it.
second. If God doesn't allow, excuse
God
me.
is love and he
Does that
hates
make my
rape.
God evil?
Sorry, sister. Sorry. If God doesn't allow, are you
I would
listening?
really like to answer your question.
Excuse me, are you listening?
So-
If God did not allow, hello, excuse me, Othman, listen. If God did not allow your girl to be raped, can anyone rape your girl?
Pardon?
If God does not allow the raping to take place, is there any force in this universe which can rape your daughter?
I'm saying that God hates rape.
I ask you a different question, which is this. If your God, your own God, the concept that you have, if He does not allow the raping of your girl to happen, is there anything in this universe that is more powerful than God to make the rape happen?
I didn't say that he didn't allow.
So does He allow?
If because of his sovereignty,
Excuse me, does He allow it?
because of his sovereignty.
So that means
But if
everything happens according to God's will. Back to square one. Why did you even ask me that question when you believe in the same thing?
Do you want to speak with confidence like these amazing personalities? Every single one of these amazing speakers have taken the same program with Brother Muhammad Arshad.
Muhammad Arshad has helped develop all of us.
It's extremely beneficial to do this course.
Definitely recommend this course.
Expect to become a better communicator and understanding the underpinnings of effective communication.
Go to dawahconfidence.com now to access the free life-changing training now.